All right, guys, welcome. I'm Dr. Nicole Moore. I am getting started here early. Tomorrow I'm not going to be able to do this live, so I thought I would record it for you today. I'm going to be talking about your gut, your skin, and you. Our practice is located in Roseville, Minnesota. For those of you who know us, nice to see you. Those of us around here who are listening and don't know who I am, I am a doctor of chiropractic. I've been practicing for a few years now, and we see lots of functional medicine cases in our clinic, autoimmune patients, as complex to simple as you can, people who want life change, all of those things. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to share below. I will be putting a lot of this stuff right below everything here today. So all the information that I talk about won't just go over your head. If you are the person who wants to take notes though, please get a pen and paper right now. I will be starting now. All right, well, welcome. Your gut, your skin, and you. So we're going to be talking about how your gut affects your skin and vice versa. My name is Dr. Nicole Moore. We talked about this already. Welcome, welcome. Skip through here. So there's a lot out there about aesthetics and skincare. Have you spent a lot on skincare products? I haven't necessarily, but most of my patients do. A lot of my colleagues do. They're starting to spend less and less and less because the more we find out about the gut, the less they have to spend on the exterior or our skin. Some products help for a short time, others not at all. The Skin Store customer survey found the average consumer spends about $8 a day on skincare. That's about 16 different products before leaving the house. That's a lot. Does that sound familiar to you? What if you've achieved the skin you wanted from the inside out? Wouldn't that save you time and money every day in your routine? Improving your gut health, you can naturally achieve healthy, glowing skin. All right, so you're going to guess it, but what is the largest organ of the body? Our skin. It covers our whole body. From the tip of our head to the tip of our toes, that's just what covers it. Obviously, there's hair, there's other things as well, but it grows through the skin, out of the skin. All the good stuff here. The average person's skin could cover an area of 2 square meters. That accounts for approximately 15% of our weight. Our largest organ of the body. Unlike other organs, skins cover the outside of the body, acting as a barrier to protect the internal organs. This is pretty cool. The scientific term for the organ is epidermis. This is the outermost layer of the skin we can see and touch. The skin has multiple layers with various functions. Let's look at that. Okay, so this is a picture of our skin. When we look under a microscope, when we look very closely, you can see some hair follicles, you can see some pores. There's a lot of things that we cannot see that's going to be going on in here. It is 3 layers deep: epidermis, dermis, and hypodermis, or the subcutaneous tissue. The epidermis makes the outermost layer, right? So it's helping with the waterproof of the skin. It's absent of blood vessels. The palms and the hands and the bottoms of the feet make up the additional layers called the corneum and the lucidum. You didn't know you were getting an anatomy lesson today, did you? Well, here it is. The dermis is just below the epidermis. This is where the connective tissue is, the hair follicles, the sweat glands. This helps cushion the body. The dermis also houses a number of nerve endings for our sense of touch. Blood vessels located on the dermis provide nourishment and waste removal. That's very important. The hypodermis, so the very deep layer, is made up of fat, the subcutaneous tissue, and connective tissue. Technically, this layer is not part of the skin, but it's attached to the underlying bone and muscle, as well as supplying with blood vessels and nerves. So we look through a lot of this stuff, and we wonder, what does it do for us? Like, why is that so important? We know it protects us, but why? It basically helps us fight pathogens by keeping them out, right? So if you have a cut in your skin, you can look and you get infected, you have infections, you're dealing with a lot of things, right? So it can be infections from self. So A lot of different things can happen. A lot of people talk about staph infections. Well, Staph aureus lives on our skin. When we get a cut and our immune system can't handle it, that is basically our body's way of not being able to fight ourselves, right? So we can't protect ourselves from that staph infection. Many nerve endings located in the skin react to temperature, touch, pressure, vibration, and tissue injury. This is a really good thing. This function is important. There's a large blood supply to warm or cool the body and maintain adequate temperature. Sweat glands, for example, are located in the skin as means of cooling and excreting toxins. The skin is a storage center for fat and water. It provides a unique environment for the synthesis of vitamin D. And there's a lot of research out there. So vitamin D in the state of Minnesota at this latitude cannot be produced because of the way that the sun hits the earth here. And that's why we find that there's a lot of multiple sclerosis and autoimmunity here, because our vitamin Ds tend to be low. If you're on different parts of the earth closer to the equator, you will be able to get that start of synthesis through your skin of vitamin D. So if you're looking for that research, that is not going to be covered here today, but there's a little tidbit for you. The water-resistant barrier of the skin allows nutrients to remain in the body and be absorbed by our organ systems. So we talk about gut flora all the time, but what about the skin flora? So flora is just basically the environment of bacteria, pathogens, and other things, right? Living organisms. It houses 3 main ecological areas: moist, dry, and sebaceous. So rich environments of microbes. We need these bugs to thrive and protect us. When that breaks down, that's when we get disease. Around 1,000 species of bacteria have been identified on your skin alone. This is such a major area of interest, and the National Institutes of Health launched the Human Microbiome Project to identify and characterize the microorganisms that are found in association with both health and disease. Skin flora is typically non-pathogenic, meaning it's not harmful. The rich diversity of skin flora prevents pathogenic organisms from colonizing in the skin surface. The flora is under examination for additional benefits, such as those found from the gut flora, and we will talk about that here in a second. There are different skin types, okay? We all know this. Some burn, some tan. Basically, we're different genetically. We're just made up that way, which is nice. Skin is typically categorized in 4 types. Now we're talking about normal, dry, oily, and combination. This is what your aesthetics will be. You know, your estheticians will be like, oh, you have T-zone, you have this. That's what they're talking about here. The category normally refers to a well-balanced skin, referring to a balance of sebum. That's your oil. Achieving normal skin is the goal of most products, right? So we want to normalize things so that we have a good microbiome. Dry skin lacks the oils needed to retain moisture. Oil also acts as a protective shield against external influences. Problems related to dry skin are common complaint about 40% of visits to dermatologists. Dry skin is more sensitive to irritation, redness, and the risk of infections. And that's where people get really confused. That's why you should definitely see an esthetician or a functional medicine provider that can really help with underlying issues. Most estheticians are on board with that. You see young children going into the estheticians and they're drinking 2 Caribou coffees a day, and they're 14 years old and they're getting really bad pimples. There's a correlation between the gut and the skin. Hands, feet, elbows, and knees are prone to conditions of dry skin, right? So we have calluses and scaling and itchiness, all of that stuff. Oily skin, on the other hand, is just the opposite. You have overproduction of oil, sebum, leaving the skin feeling greasy and shiny. It can be caused by genetics, hormone imbalances, and stress. Combination skin consists of dry and oily, and it makes up as the T-zone, right? We talked about that, the forehead, chin, and nose. The cheeks might be more dry in that instance. They are both influenced by internal and external factors. So when we look at the GI tract, we don't really necessarily think, oh, the GI tract and the skin are really related. What we're finding is our health comes from our gastrointestinal system. If it is not working correctly, then we will not be able to have health in our body or proper health, we get breakdown and disease. Now, it's not 100%, but it's up there. The GI tract is made up of everything from the mouth to the anus. This is a tube. This is something that we eat something and it should be broken down and absorbed and then excreted appropriately. It has a whole bunch of bacterial ecosystems. The gut is known as the small and large intestine, and it has its own microbiome of bacteria not found anywhere else in the body, right? That's so special. There are 400 bacterial species, mainly found in the lower bowel. The stomach is more acidic, housing more sparse amounts of bacteria. Usually there's only like 1 or 2 microorganisms that can live in that type of environment. The gut is responsible for absorbing the nutrients, helpful and harmful bacteria, and excreting waste. The primary function is to absorb the nutrients of your food so you can function, right? You feed your body, and that's how we get the food in. Improving this function in the gut has scientifically shown to improve the skin health, immune function, mood, and energy levels. So if your tank is full and you have all the nutrients and all the things that you need, your microbiome is going to be healthy on the inside and the outside, is basically what this is saying. They have termed it the gut-skin axis. The gut-skin axis is just like the hypothalamus, so the pituitary gut axis, right? So we can link so many different organ systems together because we work together. You can't have one without the other. If you take out the microbiome, you take out the health of the body, right? So you affect the brain, you affect the skin, you affect other organ systems that cannot work the way they need to work. Okay, the gut. Yay, that's a cute little picture. Everybody has little white painted nails like that, and we're all, you know, on the tropic beaches of, that's what we like to think here in the Midwest. We're out of the snow already in February, the beginning of March. Anyways, the health of your skin is dependent on what's happening in your gut. Numerous studies show treating your gut issues helps treat your skin issues. We see this time and time again. So we divide the living bacteria in 2 categories, the good and the bad. There needs a balance of the bacteria. We need good and bad. Bad bacteria needs to be at such a less proportion. I just talked about candida in my last few webinars ago. So if you're looking for more explanation about like what candida is and all the bacteria and the percentages and stuff, definitely check out that video, okay? There needs to be a balance for proper digestion and food, the synthesis of vitamins in your body needs. However, when these bad guys take over, this is a result in a number of underlying conditions. Many functions of the gut is to create a barrier keeping things out. Just like our skin keeps things out, when you eat something, it's not technically in your body yet. It's not in your body until the gut says, okay, we're going to absorb you through the lumen into the body cavity. So when you eat something and it goes down to your anus and you poop it out, that continual line is supposed to be a barrier, and it's part of the outside world, but it's internally inside your body. You should look that up on an anatomical model so you can actually see this. It is so backwards to what a lot of people think, but it should not be absorbed into our body until our gut says so. All right, so if it does get absorbed into our body and we do have imbalances, that's going to cause SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. This occurs when the bacteria from the colon forms an intestine where it does not belong. So this is where it actually moves and is placed in a place where it shouldn't be, right? So it's a traveling bug. Gut dysbiosis. This creates an environment which is harmful. Bacteria takes over. This increases the bacteria that has been shown to play a role in skin conditions, right? So dysbiosis is just the imbalance of good to bad bacteria. Hypochlorhydria. Sorry, I botched these words so bad. Anyways, low acidity in the stomach. So hypo, right? So low hypochlorhydria. We'll just skip that one. Low acid in the stomach is a big problem. If you have low acidity in your stomach, what happens is all these parasites and bugs and bad bacteria can actually get through. It's not doing its job. It needs to keep these parasites out, keep the bad bacteria out, and it digests the food. So there's a bunch of things that this causes if you don't have enough acid in your stomach. Parasites or yeast infections can be the source of inflammation in the gut-skin axis as well. If you do have low acid, you can get parasites. If you have high acid, you can get parasites as well. However, if it's low, your chances are higher. If you're eating poorly or a lot of high carbohydrates, complex or simple sugars, eating out of a box or fast food, often you're going to get more yeast growth, more bad bacteria growth. You're feeding the bad things in our body, and that's what they crave and live off of. This inflammation is reflected in our face, right? In our skin, right? If you get hives, if you get acne, whatever kind of acne it is, it usually stems from what's going on within. Each of these conditions can lead to leaky gut. Leaky gut syndrome, you hear about this a lot. So leaky gut syndrome is a consequence of bacterial imbalances in the gut where it attacks the gut wall, disrupting the protection that it provides. What happens is then it allows the leaking of things that shouldn't be in our gut to get into our, or shouldn't be in our body, to get into our body from our gut. That's bacteria, virus, fungus, incomplete digested food, so bigger molecules that the body doesn't understand. This causes major issues. Toxins from the metabolism of the bacteria. These can be severe. Chronic inflammation can occur, placing additional stress on our skin. Food allergies can be developed in the immune system, starting in identifying food particles as invaders, right? So it doesn't mean that we're going to go into gluten and dairy and autoimmune and all this right now, but this is usually the first step, and now we're starting to see it in young teens and adolescents, just like diabetes, and this needs to be taken care of so that we don't have long-term chronic diseases such as MS, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. There's a lot of things that we can prevent when we just correct the IBS that we get diagnosed with in our teens and 20s or even younger. We address these things. It helps our skin, it helps our body, helps our brain function better. Let's get into common conditions affecting our skin, okay? Due to extensive research, our gut flora, we know, has many conditions either caused or worsened by improper balance of bacteria in the gut. Some conditions cause poor gut health, acne, facial redness. Caused by poor. So our gut actually can cause all of these things. Acne, facial redness, eczema, psoriasis, dry skin, rosacea, dermatitis. So eczema, psoriasis, and rosacea are autoimmune disorders, okay? This is where our body attacks itself. They're a common condition that individuals experience. Skin conditions are typically symptoms of something else going on in the body, such as various gut imbalances, as I mentioned before. So acne. Acne can show up in a lot of different places in our body. Most common is on our face and our back, and sometimes our chest. This affects 85% of people in our life. I know I've suffered. That's what got me here. If you want to come in and ask me sometime or have coffee sometime or tea, let me know. I used to believe that greasy foods like French fries led to acne, but now we know that it's the actual intestinal microflora to blame. One study examined the group of acne sufferers and found that SIBO in over half the group. SIBO patients were divided into two groups, one treated with intestinal microflora correcting agents and the other without. The treated group recovered from acne twice as fast. That's pretty amazing. So fermented beverages such as kefir or kombucha tea found that it reduced inflammatory acne by 40% compared to the placebo group. I would recommend, though, that you do a probiotic versus a kefir fermentation in your food just at the beginning to see if that helps, because you might have underlying things unless you actually go to a physician to find these out, okay? Other studies show that SIBO is 10 times more prevalent in rosacea acne sufferers than healthy controls. There's definitely a gut-skin reactivity. Okay, when we look at enzymes basically is a catalyst to help break down foods. So we have digestive enzymes that are naturally produced in our gut, in our mouth, in our stomach, right? And then we have the synthetic ones that some people take to help break down things that maybe we lack. Like the most common thing is dairy. So a lot of people will take enzymes to help break that down. Digestive enzymes are necessary for the breakdown. Lack of digestive enzymes has been linked to poor absorption of fat and protein. They're both essential for healthy skin. Fat and protein isn't properly broken down and absorbed, the skin can become dry, and we can gain some eczema or psoriasis, right? There's other literature on this, so we're going to skip that. But digestive enzymes are most produced in the pancreas and the endocrine glands. They're secreted in various points along the gastrointestinal tract. There are 22 different digestive enzymes. The following are the most common. Amylase, lipase, cellulase, lactase, maltase, phytase, protease. If you're interested in all this stuff, definitely look it up. It's a very intriguing topic. These all have a specific breakdown. Amylase helps with carbs, lipase, fats, cellulase, fiber, lactase, that's when we talk about the milk sugar or lactose, maltase, so grains and glucose, phytase, this basically helps with the breakdown of vitamin B's, protease, the breakdown of proteins. Sucrase, basically the digestion of any other sugar, okay? Basically, if you eat a variety of raw foods, which, by the way, we just did a raw food challenge not too long ago, so it's still on our Facebook page, Perfect Touch Massage and Chiropractic. If you look that up, you should see the 2-week group for raw food challenge. Go on there and see if you can't stem some things or get some things up into your brain that will really help you change your lifestyle, okay? Soak, sprout, or ferment your nuts, seeds, grains, and legumes. This allows them to be less reactive and more absorbable. Correct magnesium deficiencies. A lot of us are deficient in a lot of things. Magnesium can really help with our digestion. Supplement with enzymes if and when necessary. Don't overdo it. Hippocrates is very smart and dead. Let the food buy thy medicine and medicine thy food, right? So basically the saying is eat for health. Don't let your health degrade so much that you rely on drugs because they're not going to really help. Food will be your medicine. So you should be consuming some bone broth, fermented vegetables, herbal tonics, fermented drinks, coconut oil. These all have major microbial activity that helps the body, that grows the body, that kills things in the body naturally, that our body really enjoys, okay? You want to eat foods rich in polyphenols. This is going to be cocos and grape skins and green tea and almonds and onions and blueberries and broccoli. Phenols are a plant compound that are not fully digested, so they make their way to the colon. They can be digested by gut bacteria, and it increases bifidobacteria and lactobacilli. This is 2 of the microflora that are really good bacteria to really balance out our gut microflora, which in turn helps our skin, okay? Whole grains. So there's a lot of research on this, good and bad. If you have no disease right now and you have no allergies to whole grains, they're non-GMO'd, they are actually beneficial for you. We do all have some inflammation for about 4 to 5 hours of consuming gluten. So gluten-containing grains will cause inflammation in the body. But that's another discussion, right? Prebiotic foods are going to be high in fiber. We're not going to really talk about this too much here. We only have a little bit of time. There's so many things to go through for the skin. If you want more information as well about the gut, I think I'm going to be doing a few other webinars on that as well. But so you're going to try to avoid gluten, dairy, corn, soy, caffeine, alcohol, wheat flour, white rice, and rich bread. So anything that's gluten-free breads, gluten-free this, gluten-free that. If it's really gluten-free and it's not processed, it's good to eat. Fresh fruits and vegetables, okay? Supplements. Quick rundown, grab your pen. L-glutamine, licorice root, N-acetylglucosamine, hydrochloric acid, probiotics. All of those things are going to really balance out what you're trying to help with the protection, the breakdown, and the replenishing of the body, okay? That was a quick ending for you. I will be posting some of these things below. I do want to thank you for spending your time with me to learn a little bit about what the balance is between the microbiome in our gut and the microbiome on our skin. They do kind of mirror each other, so one plays off the other, right? So we have chronic inflammation, which is the cause of many diseases. It starts in our gut. We actually regulate the good and bad bacteria. Once that's regulated, our skin starts reflecting it. Then we can start seeing, okay, chronic inflammation goes down, other disease processes go down, our body is able to take care of things. There's a natural process that happens. If you're finding this all confusing, come to our office. I will list everything below here. We have a 15-minute free conversation, consultation about your questions, see if we might be able to help in a mild or major way in your life. If this is encouraging to you, like I knew it, this is what it was, please share us and, put the comments below. We would love to see your feedback on all of this, okay? I really, really thank you so much for joining me. Sorry I had to do this a day early. For those of you who signed up, you can find us either on our Facebook page or on our Google page. Our YouTube. All right, guys. Well, here we are signing off. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.